Hello, my name is Evie, and welcome back to Overwatch Everyday. This is a series where I play 1 to 5 ranked games each day, explaining my thought process that gets me up to champ on all roles throughout the video. In this video, we have some high highs and some low lows, making the right adaptations just a little too late in our earlier games, but later showcasing what it looks like to make the perfect playstyle adjustments on Juno without swapping to turn a super rough game into one where we completely lock down the enemy team with well-timed healing and missile usage. And with that out of the way, let's get into the video. Alright, but going into our next game here, I forgot to vote random, lol. But we're going to be getting Colosseo. This might be our Zen game. Could be our Zen game. No heroes insta-locked from our team. Looking like we're going to be having a Sierra though. I think that while I don't have that much experience actually sort of like playing Sierra, and I haven't like studied them like I have for a lot of the other heroes, from my general knowledge it looks like since their damage numbers are really high, their mobility isn't as strong as like a Tracer or a Genji. She's going to be definitely a lot more in that sort of primary damage or hit scan role, and goddamn are they going to do damage. Sierra fucking hurts, bro. I'll play ranked so bad, but wife is dragging me to the festival in town. Festivals are fun though. Ranked will still be here when you get back. Alright, and on Colosseo, looking like we're going to be having our Sojourn. Sojourn, Hazard, Sierra. Oh, we're going to be having a D.Va. So I could probably play some Zen here. I'll try out Zen. And if it's not working, then I can swap a little bit later. Especially with this Kiriko and our double hit scan, it means that we're going to be playing a lot slower and pokier of a comp. We want to be pumping in a lot of damage to their big threats. Probably going to be the tank being the main one. And thinking about our positioning a lot. With Zenyatta especially, you're going to have a lot of just good numbers by default. You're going to be doing a lot of damage. Your Discord is just going to basically take off 30% of somebody's HP instantly. So your numbers on Zen are going to be really good, but you need to be thinking about your positioning a lot because you don't actually have that much HP. You don't have any survivability tools, and I don't have my controls set. That's fine. I usually have up scroll and down scroll bound for my Harmony and Discord orbs, but that's okay. I can deal with shifting. My Sierra goes down early, and they're going to be on Hazard, so my thought process with playing into Hazard here is just going to be kind of sitting at the back of the map and making it as hard for their Hazard to walk up as possible. As I get a little bit more space though, I really need to be living, but unfortunately I'm going to get caught on the car a little bit. My D.Va is going to be marking that left side, and it's going to be a little bit difficult for me to actually play. The idea behind going high ground instead of pathing towards the Mega with my D.Va would be that if I was able to get to the high ground, it would have been very hard for them to get onto me. But since I was not able to get to the high ground, then our uptime was just going to be cut very short. While going to the Mega would have given me a lot, like, brief, it would have given me very, like, brief, uptime. I wanted to play for a little bit longer term. So rush coming out from my Kiriko. I don't want to be stepping up too much though, because it's going to be really scary for me. Putting Discord onto those hazards to try to force them out, and then Harmony Orb onto my D.Va to try to allow them as much uptime as possible. But they're going to be sustaining and then going back in with their own rush. So I'm just going to be going on this high ground. Their Genji's going to be dashing up me almost certainly here. And their Kiriko will as well. As their Genji still remains in, they really want to be pressuring us out. So I'm just going to be popping my Trank as they use their Nano Boost. We're going to be taking that ult trade. And their Genji will be going down as they dash into us. Unfortunately, used my Discord Orb a little bit too early onto their Hazard, so I won't have it when they're full committed into us. Something pretty important to think about when you're playing Zenyatta is that cooldown on your Discord Orb. If they break LOS, And if they're able to live, I just want to put orb on them, see if I can get my diva to live. Unfortunately, my diva will go down, and probably me as well. Yep. Zen might be a little bit too hard here, especially as it looks like we're going to be swapping to Mauga, so I'm going to be going Lucio instead. The idea behind Lucio with the Mauga is going to be stepping... we're going to be able to use our speed boost to get our Mauga into the fight, as well as deny their angles very well, since we have two shooters already. If we're playing a hero that's going to be a little bit more strong at denying the enemy team's plays and denying like the positions that they would want to take with their Genji or their Hazard, then it means that our other shooters are going to be able to shoot their guns like a lot more. I want to be sitting on the card as my Mauga peels back, just making sure that we get any sort of value, even if these plays don't really go too well. Dodging these spikes the best that I can, and their Hazard goes very, very low. I want to see if I can chase this down, and we are going to be able to find the frag. My Mauga wants to continue going in. Genji going onto me here. But we are going to be able to clean up both of them and turn this game around. I think honestly, usually I go the boot perk. And maybe it's actually better here because they're on Hazard. I'm actually going to wait to see what their Genji just swapped to before I pick my perk. They're going to be on Reaper, so I will be picking the boot perk with the idea of being able to push their Reaper and their Hazard outside of their effective range is going to be really, really important on their engages. So as our Hazard goes in here, I'm going to be trying to provide spaces for my Kiriko to Sable. And we are going to be living their rush engage and winning this point. I want my Kiriko to be pushing up, but it does not look like she's going to be. It's better for me to be on cart because our Kiriko probably could have kept that alive. But that's going to be a-okay. We are going to have ults to retake this pretty shortly. So using our boop and just trying to get out of here the best that we can. I'm not putting myself necessarily in the best spots to really deny their Hazard, but we're taking some pretty good brawl trades, so I think that as long as I'm stacking and keeping people up, we're going to be looking at a pretty decent spot. So their Hazard uses Slash here, and that's going to be really important for us. Nano Boost comes out onto the enemy team's Hazard, but they're going to be going down anyways. And as their Emre is going to be the only one left, I'm going to clean them up and then turn around. My Sojourn's on the point, my Kiriko is carrying our Sierra, who I think they would be fighting Reaper. It's Reaper or Kiri. If it's Kiri, then we can step really aggressively with B. If it's Reaper, then it's kind of whatever. I hear their Hazard main. I want to be putting myself in a spot that's going to be able to kite easily. Booping to fuck up their wall. I'm going to be beating, just trying to enable my Mauga to stay sort of in this fight, but unfortunately it will not be enough. Though we do get checkpoint off of it, which is going to be pretty important here. Closing in on the like 2-minute mark. Usually probably about one more fight before we reach the end of our push here. I want to be poking out this Reaper since they just took a duel. I was figuring that maybe they didn't have their Wraith, but they do use their Blossom, they use their Spikes, they use their Emre. So they're only going to be having support ults. I don't think that they quite have Nano yet either, since we saw it on this high ground just like 2 fights ago. So it's probably going to be only Rush here coming up. And there it is. So I want to be ready to try and speed my team out, but it looks like our overclock is going to be taking a lot of great attention and finding some frags. So knowing that they had their team's rush was going to allow us to position in a way where we would not be caught out and blown up instantly. And we would have been able to provide a lot more healing for our team throughout the fight and just sort of shooting them. I really want my Kiriko to get off the cart. I'm stepping on this right side, an amazing cage coming out from our Mauga. I don't have my amp quite yet, but as long as we don't die to this Emre who's shooting us from this high ground, it's gonna be chill. I'm gonna be pushing up to help my Mauga here as much as I possibly can. Now we're going to be fighting inside of our Kiriko's LOS. As their hazard pins in, I'm going to be looking to come back and boop him further into our team. And we're going to find the kill onto the Kiriko as well. Zoning out their soldier. And we find that kill too. Getting onto their Ana here. Finding the frag onto her. Since our team was very okay, just sort of chilling on the point, we're going to be able to find a lot of those frags, but unfortunately we are not quite able to get the lead, and we're going to be at a pretty bad spot in terms of our ults here. Trying to make sure that our Mauga is staying inside of our healing aura the best that we can. Living. I want to be farming at a fast speed if possible. I don't know if I'm able to farm it in the minute that we have, but I think that is definitely worth a shot. Our Mauga is getting sort of stepped at by the enemy team's hazard a little bit. Since they don't have a hit scan able to peek me, we're going to be in a spot where we can just sort of peek. And they pop their Emerald and go down, and the rush is active. Our Mauga goes in to the rush. I have two options. I can get out or crash out. I think I'm going to crash out. I think it might be best to give my Kiriko their TP, and then I can maybe chase their hazard if they're low still. I really don't want to step on that. Oh, whoa. My Mauga wants to continue fighting, so I'm just going to be around him the best that I can, trying to keep him up. We don't have our Kiriko's healing, so I need to make sure that I'm living here. Trying to get inside this little room, making it harder for their team to really fight with me. I see the cart about to go into overtime, so I'm just going to be making sure that I proc it and living the best that I can. Our Sierra gets low HP, so I'm going to be peeling their Genji off of our Sierra, trying to keep our guy alive the best that I can. But as I'm not able to find the help that I need to find onto our Mauga, I'm going to be looking for a trade onto their backline, which I will unfortunately just miss a few too many shots to be able to do. Ending that game 20-4. We almost brought it back. I think that Zenyatta was just a little bit too difficult there. When we have two of our shooters and we aren't playing, like, nobody else on our team is really able to sort of buffer the aggressive plays that their Genji was going for or their Hazard was going for, and our raw numbers weren't enough to actually sort of deny them from walking. Zenyatta is going to be really, really hard there. But I felt like I played pretty well on Lucio. Unfortunately, we'll be losing that game. Still in Diamond 2, 21%. Very A-okay. I think that if I was able to farm my beat a little bit faster to keep my Mauga alive there, we would have maybe been able to win that. But alas, sometimes these things will happen. Thank you for the follow, Nordkey. I appreciate it. And Westfalk, I don't know if I got to that. I'll try to set up some alerts. Well, I've been saying that for like 3 streams. I'm just really stupid when it comes to computers. Let me turn on my fan. It's getting a little bit hot in my room. I'm wondering if maybe BAP would have been a little bit better than Zenyatta there. Trying to use a little bit more consistent damage with the hit scan weapon to poke out their team and deny them from getting onto my DPS players. Maybe that would have been strong. Kiriko. We had a Kiriko. Mizuki might have been an option, though I think that Lucio's probably just the strongest pick there. Brig maybe wouldn't have been bad either. Brig will be able to play that much like very like denial role, be able to force out their Genji, keep our team alive on those angles. Cat can be a little bit tougher. With Cat, you're going to be wanting to use your sort of mobility to drag people away, as well as you're not going to be able to have as consistent of a sort of like survivable boop and putting yourself in spots to boop people. With Cat, you're going to want to be denying the enemy team's plays by sort of like dragging the heroes that they want to get onto away, and then playing sort of almost like a Genji and pressuring out their backline in really, really aggressive fashions as soon as you see that they're not able to get onto your backline. Since Cat's going to be a little bit less reliable in terms of being able to actually like boop people or boop any engages, because I believe that cooldown is significantly longer than beat, but I can't see the numbers in this. So let me check here. Yeah, it's going to be a 12 seconds on your main boop cooldown, while opposed to Lucio's 7 or 5. I don't know if I got 7. So Lucio is going to be able to deny a lot more sort of directly. If their hazard wants to slash onto somebody or their Genji wants to go in, then Lucio is going to be able to provide a lot more of a consistent and constant presence and a wall that they have to overcome, while Cat is only going to be able to do that like once every 12 seconds. You're going to mainly be wanting to use Cat for repositioning purposes as well as follow-ups on any engages. Kind of unfortunate, but we were able to play both of the heroes that we were looking to play with the Lucio and the Zenyatta. I'm wondering if I kind of want to play a little more Lucio even. Hello, do you have any advice for Stadium? I'm finding it really hard to improve there because the matches feel like you are being stomped or you stomp with no in between. Unfortunately, I haven't played Stadium since like the first season. I used to grind Stadium. I love Stadium. I really, really enjoy it. I just haven't had the time to recently. Stadium will feel a little bit more stomp or get stomped inherently because it's MOBA based, and the more money that you have, the easier things are going to be able, or the easier your execution on any idea is going to become, and your raw numbers get better. So it's going to be having a little bit bigger of a snowball effect compared to regular matches. But I believe that if you really look into what builds you're going for and what the most valuable aspects of your builds are, and what you need to prioritize getting super early, even if you're down on like first round or first or second game, I think that if you're prioritizing getting the most important aspects of your kit up and running as fast as you can, maybe you can stop snowballs more consistently. But I'm not too sure. I haven't grinded Stadium in a very long time. It was so much fun. I really wanted to make a video on it, but it ended up being one of my projects that never really came to fruition. When Stadium first came out, me and a bunch of friends got together and we actually won the first Stadium tournament. And it was really awesome. We had to take down an OWCS team to do so. It was so much fun sort of studying and grinding, since it was before like any like set builds were kind of out that you could find on the internet. Maybe I'll upload it at some point. But locking in a little bit here to our next game will be Dorado. We're going to be having a Pharah. A lot of supports can be pretty strong here. I think this is going to be one of Lucio's sort of weaker maps, though, just due to the high grounds being kind of hard to wall ride up to, and your horizontal mobility going to be a little bit weaker due to the oppressive high grounds that are going to be able to shoot people down. I think that Lucio is going to be a little bit harder. Kiriko is going to be very strong here. Ana is going to be strong. Brigitte can be pretty good. Wuyang, Illari. This is an amazing Illari map. We're going to be having a Mei, Pharah, Sigma. A lot of things that we can play with this. Baptiste is going to be the safest and default sort of like hero to go. Will I want to play that though? Yeah, I'll play some back. But I could go Brig. Mercy? I'll try. Okay. Nah, it's time for Mercy. I'll try to care our Pharah, and I'll be talking through my thought process on how we want to be trying to find some value. So as we see our Sigma go low, I want to be carrying our Sigma a bit here. Reaper goes in. I want to be making it really difficult for their teams. The main thing about Mercy is you want to be alive the most that you can. And so a lot of that's actually going to be positioning. So making sure that I'm able to find my healing value without exposing myself to the enemy team, or if I am exposing myself in a very safe way to bait them to look at me and not look at my team, is going to be the name of the game here on Mercy. So with our Mei block being formed, I want to see... Echo goes behind. I just didn't even hear her, bro. I think that is a new swap, maybe, or maybe we just killed them really early. Yeah, they're on Reaper before. So with their Echo flanking behind and just going to be able to find the one shot onto us, it's going to make this fight fairly difficult here. Maybe we're going to be able to help out our Pharah escape though. And making sure that as I enable our Pharah here, I'm in pretty safe positions. If I go inside of their Ashe LOS, I want to be immediately out of it as fast as I can. Enabling my Pharah to try and find frags here onto their team. I'm wondering how can I take things into my own hand. I flash heal. I completely forgot I flash heal. Their Ashe is in a really good spot, and I think that's going to be hard to get reses off. I actually completely forgot I had flash heal. It's been so long since I played Mercy. We're going to be on Winston now instead of Sigma. I think that's going to be very, very beneficial for our comp. I'm going to be damage boosting my Winston to sort of walk up here. I'll be fucking up my GA just a little bit. And we're coming close on our Valkyrie, which will enable us to be fairly active and provide a lot of numbers for our team. Unfortunately, we don't have it quite yet. I don't think I can win on Mercy. I just don't know how to use the flash heal properly yet. And I'm not getting into good spots to actually find reses. So I'll be swapping off Mercy after my Valk. But hopefully we're going to be able to win with our Valk. Even if it's kind of improper, I might just pop like Valk and then try to Glock somebody down because something... I have the mechanical skill to maybe find value in that way, and I might not have the understanding of Mercy's kit to do so otherwise. So I really want to be popping my Valk here, and as their Echo goes pretty low, I want to make sure that the rest of my team is alive. My Pharah might be going for a barrage, so I'm just going to be trying to enable that as much as I can. Making sure that they won't get sort of one shot by blowing themselves up if they get a little bit too close to anybody. And really, really hoping that we cap here so I can play a hero I'm a bit more comfortable on. I'm hoping that I will be able to play some Mercy in the future, but I think I suck a bit too much of this hero right now to win. So I'm going to be going... I think Illari could be pretty strong. I think the Wuyang could be pretty good. I'll play a bit of Illari. Idea behind Illari is that I'm going to be able to help my Pharah in that air a lot with my pylon. Enabling people to sort of do as much damage as they can do while finding angles myself to really live. But as my Pharah goes down, and so does most of my team, I'm just going to be backing up, trying to live for another day. I think that I can even get some pretty deep flanks going here. Illari is going to be getting most of her value through her raw numbers and her gun. So making sure that you're putting yourself in spots to actually enable that is going to be a very important aspect of Illari's kit. As our Winston goes in with Primal, it means that we're going to be in a spot to sort of pressure them out. I'm going to drop off this high ground though. with the idea to care my Pharah. There's Zenyatta's inside our space. I really don't want to be like getting one shot by that. I don't want to be taking this 1v1 too aggressively, because if I die, it means that I won't be gaining any more value for the rest of the fight. My Mei is on this right side. Their Ashe is coming back. I'm going to go for a little bit of a greedy rotation here, trying to get onto this right side, because if I'm able to bait them onto me through this right side, it will be very, very good. My Ana had the same idea, but that means that we're not going to have any care on main or on the cart as me and our Ana reposition. So it'll be a little bit more difficult, but we are able to hit very nice. A very nice kill onto their, or not a nice kill, a nice nade onto the Roadhog. I was really caught off guard by their Echo just sort of flying in. Here we have our sun coming up, so I'm thinking about trying to put myself in a position to just sort of either ideally break down their high ground with my sun. Their comp is going to be very, very good at sort of spamming us out. So if we're able to take away the important space on the map for them, it's going to be a very useful or valuable play to go for, and we have the tool to do it with our ultimate. If somebody overextends on this right side, I might actually, unless it's a Roadhog. I don't really want to fight the Roadhog. I see their Kiriko use their TP and their Suzu, but I'm going to try to greed my ult anyways, because I see all of them so low. My pylon dies, and I miss my dash, but it will be okay. Reaper ends up going inside of our space, but my Pharah is going to be to go and clutch up. So I just want to be chilling here. Main thing that I want to be thinking about here is still my sun as well as my angles. I can be sitting on cart for now with the idea to dash on the high ground a little bit later. So Roadhog walks up, and now is going to be the time that we're going to want to dash onto this high ground, trying to carry our Pharah the best that we can as they get hooked, and then an amazing nade comes out from my Ana. Bob is low ground, but I'm going to try to dash through the... Oh, no. I just didn't have any space. That's okay. I definitely could have probably popped my ult there instead of dropping onto the low ground, and I've greeted it just a little bit too much. That's going to be a big mistake that I made, since I ended up not getting any value out of this ult. So now I'm going to be putting myself in a very, very, very difficult spot to actually find anything with it. We hear the Reaper on this right side, and I don't think that anyone on my team is going to be able to touch, so I'm going to try my best. But they have their whole hog, and they will be denying us, and we will be losing that point. Two things I think really I did wrong there. The Mercy was... I just wasn't good enough on Mercy to actually like do anything or find any value. I wasn't used to the new flash healing, and I was playing a little bit too much for their actual like M1 healing and their damage boost, when I think that they could be getting a lot more value in other ways. But I just don't have enough experience on the new or reworks Mercy yet. As well as holding my ult or greeting it a little bit too much on that third point, when I probably could have just used it to even just keep myself alive as they were pop their Bob and the Reaper was going for a flank. I could have used it in the 1v1 against the Reaper, or I could have used it to sort of open up a main area on the map. It would have been very, very chill for us, but since I didn't do any of those, we're going to be looking in a pretty rough spot on third there. Thinking about our defense here, we have a Bastion, Pharah, Winston, and Ana. I think that I might want to be going something like a Kiriko or a BAP, maybe a Wuyang. I'm going to go Wuyang. Idea behind the Wuyang is that our Ana is going to be wanting to care or put a lot of resources into our tank as well as our Pharah, and if we do end up running that Bastion, then we're going to need a little bit of extra heals, but we still want to be playing a lot more in sort of like a raw numbers or a pokier direction. So Wuyang will be able to provide a lot of healing with that wave value, as well as just having a lot of damage. We hear the Reaper pathing behind us. That's going to be something important for us to note, and our Ana notes it as well. So I'm going to try to poke out their Reaper a bit, but unfortunately we're not going to be able to find anything as their Pharah sort of walks up onto us. I want to be chilling. Reaper ends up being pretty close again. Sleep coming out onto something. I don't know where though. Putting my wave onto this Reaper. I'm trying to hit their Pharah, but unfortunately I'll be failing. Wuyang's generally going to be pretty difficult into flyers because it's going to be really hard to nail them down in the sky like that. But I'm going to be taking this high ground a little bit. As I see their diva boosters, I'm going to have a little bit of a timing to actually poke people out from this angle. Pharah goes 1 HP and we force their Kiriko TP. We see their diva get rocked, so I'm going to try to poke that out. I hear the Reaper behind me pretty soon, or under me. As my Echo goes low, I'm going to be backing up towards that yet again. Throwing my wave onto the carb and then going to immediately heal my Ana, trying to make sure that everybody's as topped up as I can get them to be. But we will not be able to, but we will find the 1v1 win onto their Pharah. Unfortunately, seeing our Reaper or our Echo go down to the Reaper in our space, but we can force that out as well. Reaper 1v1 happening inside here, but we are going to be able to help a lot and clear that up. Our Sigma is going to overextend just a little bit as we're dealing with the Reaper inside of us. So I just want to chill. My Ana's pathing through that high ground again, and there's not much I can really do about the diva flying on there. I don't really want to int for those kills, so I'm just going to be backing up and waiting for my Sigma again. As I get stickied and my Echo is still somewhat low, I'm just going to be popping my wave and taking this right side angle, wanting to make it as difficult as possible for them to find hits onto me. As I hear their Echo sort of walking into us, going to be looking to step, putting bubble onto my Ana so I don't really have to look at this Reaper too much, and that way it will enable me to kite a little bit later. Since I didn't have the time to really look at the Reaper and I wanted to continue putting my damage on main, but the Reaper was a threat to my Ana, utilizing my ultimate to make it so that they weren't able to like kill my Ana and I was still able to do the rest of my stuff was going to be the play there. We hear a lot of them staging for this top area. And we see the Reinhardt walking main. So I'm just going to be spamming this down. Don't be afraid to shoot shields, especially when you're playing like a really big sort of like numbers-based character, because it will be doing a lot of damage to those shields, or a lot more damage than you'd think. But we will be going down to their Echo, and now that they're on this Echo Venture, our job is going to be considerably harder because they're just going to be looking to assassinate us in the backline constantly. I might honestly swap to Brigitte to try and help with that a little bit. Wuyang's going to be a little bit difficult into Venture, especially. My Ana's pathing to this left side and to cart. I'm just going to try to care my Echo as my Ana's not really getting looked at yet. So I'm just going to be taking this high ground area to try to poke out anyone and enable my Sigma to walk super freely. I don't think there's actually that much I can really do for my Ana, but they are going to find the nade onto their Echo and enable us to sort of walk down this team. Pocketing my Echo, making sure that they don't go low here. I am going to be our only healer, so we want to be keeping the Rhine as far out as possible, but we are just going to slowly be losing some heals here, especially with our triple orb perk. We can be spamming out this Reinhardt quite a bit. I wanted to see if I would just help my soldier on angle, but it will just be a little bit too hard for us to find the value with our orbs there. But we're going to be in a pretty good spot to just sort of spam people out. Wow, I knew that their Venture could dash on me there, but I wasn't expecting the rush. I do have my bubble, so I'm going to be sticking on Wuyang for at least this fight. We duped their Reinhardt, and now that they don't have their rush on the card, their Venture goes down, so we don't have to worry about the Venture ult. We see their Echo going this high ground, so I'm going to be putting my orb on the soldier, trying to poke out where I think that they might approach from. Fortunately, I'm not able to find any orbs onto it, but I can maybe stage onto this high ground for next fight. My soldier going very, very, very low. I'm just going to wave them to try and enable as much as possible. As I see my team sort of stacking on this left side, I'm really worried about us dying here. So I'm going to walk over to make sure that I'm actually within my healing range. And now that I hear the rest of their team sort of walking up, I'm going to put my bubble onto the soldier, making sure that they're ready to get active. Poking out whoever I can on this low ground, but their echo is going to be able to get onto me, and we will be going down very shortly after. I think it's a brig angle. Maybe Lucio now on third point. Looking at their comp, they want to be getting onto us a lot. I think Bappa's going to struggle a lot into that venture and potentially the Echo and Reinhardt. I think that brig feels yucky though. Ramatra. Okay, I think with the Ramatra I am going to be sticking onto the Baptiste, giving us the opportunity to just pump in a bunch of healing to their team, or to our team, and be able to pump in a lot of healing and pump in a lot of damage. But unfortunately, our Ana will be going down really early, and the Ramatra steps. We're having a little bit of an unfortunate streak. Put the Curie in the bag. Curie could have been fine. I worry a little bit about actually like fighting on angles a bit and how split we were. I think that the better play probably would have been for me to... Curie would have definitely been fine, as I would have been able to utilize her sort of like very generalized kit to get to the lanes, help out the people who I need to help out, as well as potentially win some of the 1v1s against the weaker like 1v1 heroes like Echo. If Echo is not able to find like a sort of like assassination onto somebody, I think that that would have been a pretty easy 1v1 to win. I think that Wuyang was a little bit too inconsistent with the damage. Illari probably could have been pretty good. But either way, if I wanted to play Wuyang, I probably could have been flanking a little bit more and pressuring their backline a bit more aggressively. But neither here nor there. We'll be losing that game, unfortunately, and then going into our next one, which will be Havana. Looking like we're going to have a Doomfist on Havana. Can be a little bit hard to play, but I think that we will be able to enable it properly, potentially being able to play like something like an Ana to support them at longer ranges. Only big worry is going to be like a Sigma or a Diva. It's going to be this is going to be a generally harder map for flankers to play because it's so open and you're going to have a lot of long sight lines to walk through. Closer range heroes like Genji or Tracer might struggle a bit because they have to walk through so much space. They have to be taking so much damage to actually get onto the people that they want to get onto, and most of the times they're not going to be easy flanks to really take to get onto the targets that they want to. That's why you'll see heroes like Widowmaker, Ashe, Emre so dominant here, just because they'll have those super long sight lines that people are forced to walk through. So we're going to be having a Mercy with a Junkrat, Doomfist, and a Sojourn. A lot of things that we could do here. Baptiste wouldn't be terrible, but I worry a little bit about like further ranges. I was thinking Ana is definitely the pick, yeah. I think that you definitely can play a bunch of stuff here. Ana, I think, is going to be the safest for now, though. Kiriko, of course, wouldn't be bad as usual. I'm a little bit worried about this game because if things start to go pretty bad, I think that they can go pretty bad quickly and we'll end up sort of snowballing. But with Ana, especially, if I'm able to get that headshot perk online, or if I'm able to hit some good nades to slow down their momentum, it will hopefully enable us to actually like win later. As our Ashe is on this low ground, we're going to be able to find that kill. Worried about our people on this right side. Maybe I should have been postured to sort of help them. I just didn't think that they would commit that much into that lane. Their Diva gets kind of low HP. And we'll be stepping onto our Sojourn. So I'm just going to be doing my best to sort of care them as I back up. I don't want to be inside this D.Va's boosters range, but I want to care all of the people who might be. So like my Sojourn, their D.Va goes down and we are going to be reloading. Trying to take, I want to widen my angle now that they don't have the D.Va threat to sort of burst me down if I walk forward. I'm able to walk forward a little bit more aggressively. I'm able to sort of blow them up as they step. My Mercy gets a res off onto our Sojourn, which is going to be amazing value here. I am going to be playing around Ticket Booth just because it seemed like last fight where my Junkrat and my Doomfist wanted to play up a little bit. I want to be in a position ready to care them the best that I can. But I can't play too far up, otherwise the D.Va can run on me. So it's going to be kind of a fine balance that I won't be able to find there, unfortunately. Maybe a high ground would have been the play. With our Sojourn finding 2, but going down, we're going to be looking to stabilize here. Our Doomfist gets back into the fight, and I can be looking for a nade onto their team to enable him. And we do hit it. Their Ashe goes very, very low. Our Doomfist looks for their punch, but unfortunately isn't able to connect. But with their Moira on main area, I want to be pathing towards this right side. Trying to keep our Doomfist up the best that I can. And now that I have my nano boost, I think I'm going to use it a little bit reactively. So if my Doomfist ever gets into like a pinch or into any sort of trouble, I can use my nano boost to really sort of keep him alive and active in the fight, and as well as it might allow me to reposition if their Orisa is able to get onto us, or if we're in any danger. I'm going to be able to use the speed boost nano perk to reposition easily and get out of danger. So I want to be using it kind of reactively here. I don't like using nano proactively too much, unless you're trying to take space. But as their Cassie walks up, it's now going to be time. I tried to nano my Doom there, but wondering where he's going to land. It's going to be inside their team, so I want to be putting myself in a spot that will make it ready. As they pop their Cole, it's going to be an amazing time to nano my Doomfist. Sleeping the Bob, and my team wants to blow it up, so we're going to look to blow it up. And we'll be looking to hold this point here for just a little bit longer. We don't have too many ults on the board, so I want to keep my Sojourn up. If things get kind of bad, our Sojourn's going to be looking to have what could be our like sort of miracle that we would need. So I'm going to be backing up as their team starts aggressing, keeping our Sojourn in my LOS. My Doomfist goes in very, very aggressively. Sleeping the ulting Orisa because I'm a noob, and then I can look to try to care my Sojourn just a little bit more, who does happen to get their overclock up. Could be backing up with just a little bit more. Find it. I didn't have ammo. I didn't have ammo. I didn't have ammo. We do hit the headshot onto the Tracer, which will enable us, or our Mercy, to find the frag. And then we're able to clean up the Ashe very shortly afterwards. This would be a moment where I could sort of proactively nano boost. As our Doomfist is taking a bunch of space, now I can be looking to swing very wide, make it very hard for their team to walk up. As their Moira is forced to fade because they're inside of our LOS, we're going to be able to find that kill. And we will be winning this game. Or not game. Not yet. Not yet. We will be holding on first point. Looking very good. We're going to need like 2-ish good plays to actually win this game. Still very holdable, especially on a lot of escorts. You're going to be in a pretty difficult spot to actually cap the first point. As long as you get that snowball going, though, it's going to be very possible to turn things around. And I'm very glad that we didn't have to get it all the way to like third point, since third point Havana is going to be one of the hardest points to cap in the game. So thankfully we are able to chill on main and find all of the value that we needed to off of our Doomfist taking aggressive or aggro, and our Sojourn with their OC. We're able to follow up, enable our team as much as possible, and then hold that point. Ana is definitely just going to be very chill on attack again here, if I hit a good nade, or if I farm like 2 good nanos, or like a good sleep dart, there's just going to be a lot of like sort of like clutch potential that Ana will have on this attack here when we really need to win 2 fights, and I have so many ways that I can just sort of like insta win a fight if I hit a really good nade and they don't have Kiriko, or if I hit a good nano, whatnot. It's just win cons. I'm putting a lot of win cons into my own hand, as well as I'm able to do my job by just keeping my Doomfist alive, keeping up anyone who wants to be super aggressive, and pressuring out the enemy team as well. We see our Venture and our Doomfist going this right side. We have 3 on the cart. It's not the worst thing, but I prefer putting a little more resources to taking space. If my Sojourn or my Mercy is able to take high ground, that would be awesome, but I think the plan main is going to be okay. I'm not able to carry my Doomfists, unfortunately, but I can be looking to poke out their Orisa and carrying my Sojourn as much as possible. I take a bolt to the forehead, so I'm just going to be chilling. If I get speared here, it'd be really bad. Wanting to make sure that I just stay alive as much as possible for my team. Looking for any nades that I can onto their Orisa or their backline, making it hard for them to stable. If their Orisa walks up a little bit too far here, I'm going to need to be backing up and living, but as their Orisa backs up, I'm going to be able to take a little bit more space. My Mercy gets pretty low, and I'm missing my shots. Oh, that's tragic. Moira gets very 1 HP. My Doomfist backs up to me to stabilize for a second. Since we're able to find the kill onto the Moira, I think that we're going to be in a decent spot. Orisa wants to walk at me here. I want to try to keep my Venture alive the best that I can. As I farm this nano boost, I want to put it onto my Doomfist, but unfortunately my Doomfist is going to be going down, trading out for their Orisa, which is going to be a pretty good trade for us as I pop my nano boost onto my Sojourn. I want to just be chilling the best that I can. My Venture not able to push the cart. My Mercy will be finding the res onto our Sojourn though, and this is just Freya inside of our space. We'll be cleaning them up and winning this game. Ending 13-0, going deathless for that game. I'm pretty happy with how we were playing, and once we got our headshot perk online, we were able to sort of like stop their push on the first point with our defense, and then we're just able to very easily clean up, cap, and making sure that we're being very aware of our positioning to just not get ran down by their Orisa. It's going to be what will win us this game. I'm thinking I'll play probably 1 more here. How long have I been streaming? About 2 hours? Okay. Yeah, I'll play 1 more, and that way I'll give myself some time to edit and get the video or the Overwatch Everyday video up for today. I was a little bit wondering, or a little bit worried when the first game in our tank session was like super laggy. But I think I actually know how I'm going to be fixing that. I think that I'll probably just go into the replay viewer and like recording it from there. Watch the clip dump? Okay. I'll watch the clip dump. Well, I'll watch it when they get back. I'll watch it before. Let me see here. Looking like we're going to be probably getting King's Row or Sura. Sura is my personal favorite map in the game. That or Lijiang. But King's Row is definitely up there. Looking like we're going to be having a Soldier and a Mizuki pick for our defense on King's Row. Very interesting. I wonder what I'll be able to play with the Mizuki. Saravasa is the greatest map ever conceived. I love Saravasa. I love Saravasa. I know a lot of like the general population of Overwatch really don't like Flashpoint, but I think Flashpoint is probably my favorite Overwatch game mode. Flashpoint's just sick, yeah. So as we have our Mizuki, Soldier, Emre, we're going to be wanting to play very slow, very pokey. I could play a few things here. I could play Ana, Bap, Juno, Kiriko. I think generally something with a little bit more primary like healing numbers would be good. I think that Wuyang might struggle a little bit. I think the Cat might struggle as well as Brig. Which one do I want to play? Which one do I want to talk about? I'll talk about Juno. With Juno here, all of them would have been fine. Bap, Ana, Juno, Kiriko, they all would have been very like fine here. I don't think that there's like a super right pick, probably just Bap or Kiriko though. But with the idea of Juno is I'm going to be able to use my ring to sort of enable my ram back and forth, as well as I'm going to be able to talk a lot about positioning. So as I see their comp, they're going to be having their Emre, and they're going to be having their Sigma. So they're going to be poking us out quite a bit here. And I want to be putting myself in spots that's going to make it very difficult for them to poke out. Putting my ring onto my Ramatra here, I want to make sure that they're not going down, though they don't have their form, so I want to be putting myself in a spot where it's going to be very easy to swing them, give them attention that they need. As we're getting slowly pushed back, I'm going to be looking for my missiles in a moment here, ideally onto more than just my teammates, because we need some sort of play to open up the map a bit. My Ramatra goes very low. I have my missiles in one. I think that we will be going down. That's going to be actually a really good example of two passive play. With Juno especially, it can be very easy to sort of get caught up in just healing whoever you need to heal, and that's definitely a good thing to do. But if they're going to be on a little bit more of like a pokier comp, where they're going to have two very hard hitting shooters as well, but their Sigma's just going to be able to sort of stay on the front line a little bit longer than our Ramatra. It's going to be important to be getting some aggressive missiles off, poking out their DPS with those missiles whenever you can. And as there's Sigmas inside of us, I'm going to ring my Ramatra, seeing if I can sort of enable him to walk on the Sigma, which they are able to do, and then now I'm going to be able to take this high ground. Jumping up in the air to get away from their Sierra ult, and now ringing my Ramatra, trying to clean up whoever we can clean up. And now I'm going to be thinking a lot about how I want to be finding more value out of my missiles in these sort of fights. So I'm going to be first trying to get pretty high up here, and then missiling onto their team. I'm going to be using my ring sort of liberally, because they're not going to be having much actual stepping power with their team. So my Ramatra goes low. I'm tempted to Ray, but I think that I'm just going to missile, trying to poke out their DPS the best I can. My Emre goes low, and because we throw the missile onto their Emre and they're forced back into our soldier LOS, we're going to be able to find that kill. My Ramatra goes pretty low, but I know that there's nobody who can contest me on this high ground, so I'm going to take it immediately and just throw my missiles, forcing out their team and getting their hands out of their Sigma. My Emre does go down, which does kind of suck, but because we have our Ray here, this fight's still very winnable. Unfortunately, I'm not able to get... I want to pop it. Their Sierra is going to be able to hit the skill shot onto us, but our Ray is going to be placed on the point, which will enable our Ramatra to step forward. They're going to be using their Nano and their Kitsune Rush to close out this fight. Definitely sucks, but a-okay, especially if we're able to prevent any further staggers. Looking at our Emre here, who does get antied unfortunately, but we are going to be able to keep them alive. I'm thinking about how I want to be swinging, and especially into that Sierra. It's going to be very important to be thinking about how I want to swing. As their Emre pops ult, I want to be putting myself in a spot that is not going to be easy to shoot at. And a big ult coming out from our Mizuki will allow us to go for a play and find the kill onto their Kiriko. With the triple jump, it's also going to enable us to be a lot more free with our missile usage and get a lot more of those aggressive missiles that we really need to be using to stop the enemy team's pressure, while enabling our team to sort of like step and be a little bit more aggressive. Since we're going to be losing these raw sort of number trades and their shooters are going to be doing just a little bit more damage, this triple jump is going to help us quite a bit. Popping my thing there, just trying to keep my Armatra up the best that I can. Nothing to really do here but just like pocket him. My visor goes in, but unfortunately my Ramatra will be going down very shortly after. As their Sigma steps onto us here, I'm going to be looking to try to get out and carry my M-Ray out as well. We are able to dodge the Sigma and force out a lot of their cooldowns. Unfortunately, it might be a little bit too hard for us to live. I might be able to win this. Hikey. Poking down their Sigma is going to be able to win us this fight. And making sure that we just don't die there is going to be like the name of the game. And since we knew that our Amatra was coming back, as well as we were pulling a ton of resources, it meant that they weren't pushing the cart actively. And they weren't going to be able to cap, so we had very little risk of C9ing, as well as it would enable us to actually potentially find the frag onto the Sigma as we were so slowly whittling him down. As they pop their Kitsune Rush, we want to be putting ourselves in a spot where maybe we can be carrying our DPS. We are able to find the pick onto the M-Ray while we go for that care, which is going to be putting us in a very good spot. Their Kiriko is going to be left alone on this high ground. And now there's just a Sierra left, and we will be closing out this game. Or not game, round again. We definitely made the right adjustment from first point, as we were just heal botting on the first point, but we recognized that we needed to be taking a little bit more aggressive plays with our missiles especially. It will allow us to find a lot more value over the course of second on Juno here. Just making sure that we're recognizing exactly like what we're losing to, since that we were slowly getting whittled down, since they were able to pump in a little bit more numbers onto our front line than we were able to pump into theirs. Our thought process should be like, how are we going to prevent their win con? How can we stop them from winning how they're winning? And if we're able to use our missiles to make their DPS sort of stabilize a little bit more, put a little bit more pressure onto them, and stop as much damage coming into our Amatra as we were letting happen initially, it will open us up a lot of options to actually win this game. Thinking Juno was working pretty well here on defense, so I'll try it a bit on attack. We do have even more of a shooter comp with our Illari here. Instead of Mizuki, Illari is just going to be pumping in a little bit more damage, but going to be doing a little bit less like AoE healing. I take a lot of nade damage early, so I'm just going to back on the spawn and get healed up before I actually start stepping. To open up this fight, I think I can be looking for a play like this. As I see their M-Ray repositioned somewhere, they have Venture. Okay. Juno's actually going to be one of the better flex supports into Venture. Well, Juno's not necessarily flex support, but like one of the better supports into Venture, because you're going to be able to go up outside of like the range that Venture really, really wants to be at and stay up there, unlike a Baptiste, where Venture can just sort of dig up and then later and just sort of like wait for the Baptiste to fall, it's going to be taking a much longer time for that to be the case. So we know that there are some people living in our walls, and I want to be posturing away from them. Since it's just a Lucio over here, I'm not actually that threatened by it, and their Venture's on low ground. I want to make sure that they don't drill at us. But because we're controlling the space, we're going to be able to clean up. I just want to make sure that they didn't drill at me initially, because that's going to be the main power spike of Venture. And as soon as we see their power spike out, it's going to allow us to sort of walk at them, knowing that they're half HP. And even if we weren't able to find the kill there, we would have still had all of our cooldowns. We would have had our ring. We would have had our dash to get out of that fight. But as our team pushes up here, it's going to mean that we are going to be sitting off on the cart here. Thinking about our next few fights here, we're going to need to win about 2 fights to win this game. Our soldiers on this left side, I think that I'm actually going to get off the cart for a second so I'm able to care that step from their Venture, keep our soldier alive and maintain that angle. Venture's still on this right side area, and as I'm not really able to, I really don't want to be inside the drill range, but I'm not able to get up to that platform high ground like how I wanted. So I'm just going to be playing like pretty far back, making sure that I stay out of their drill range, and as they pop their ultimate, I'm just going to be backing and trying to live the best that I can. Popping my missiles, keeping my Ramatra up the best that I can. My Illari is 1 HP and so is my Ramatra, but I think that we are going to be able to keep them alive. I don't want to Ray here, because if I'm able to greed my Ray... Wow, you are an egoist. If I'm able to greed my Ray, then it'll make this last fight really, really, really strong for us, because as they're going to be forced to touch the cart, if I'm able to maintain and keep my ultimate, that's really, really good for locking down this one specific like area of a map. It means that it's going to be a very hard fight for them to win, and we do have 4 ultimates. I'm just going to pop my Ray. Would have been better to wait a little bit, I think, and end with a Ray. But because we're just going to have so much raw damage and ultimates on the card, even though they try to use their own to respond, it will not be enough, and we'll be closing out this game. I think we definitely made a big splash in sort of turning that game around from first point. But I think that probably will be the last one for today. Ending 15-1, we had 10,000 healing in 10 minutes. Very solid, but I think that we definitely could have had a little bit more damage, thinking about how we were only healing on that first point, or on that first defense. We definitely could have been a lot more proactive, actually like stepping onto their, or not stepping onto their shooters exactly, but just pressuring out their shooters so our team would be taking less incoming damage. But with that all said and done, I'm not ending stream quite yet, but that will be the end of the support Overwatch every day. So for my YouTube audience, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.